Now, a lot of you guys were shocked last video. The comments were very supportive, helped me get that fuel in my tank to, you know, maybe show you guys some more cards you've never seen. Appreciate you guys as always, and let's get into it. First card on the list is Elder Arthur Maxson. We'll just nickname him EAM. He comes in at 12 cents and he's ran in 5,478 decks. EAM is 1, a black and a white for a 4/2 legendary creature human knight. Creature tokens you control have training. When a creature with training attacks, as long as it's attacking with another creature with higher power, put a 1/1 counter on the creature with training. You can sacrifice another creature to give EAM indestructible until end of turn. This guy makes a fucking cool commander. Honestly, I don't know why he's not played that much. He's actually really neat because he is a token commander that supplies a buff to your tokens in the form of +1/+1 counters and also has built-in protection. That's a ton of utility to have on a 3-drop commander in a token list. You're pretty much having everything the deck needs to do on your commander, which I'm told is pretty good. I love this card and gave Guru a Spores. Spoiler, I'm gonna bring him up a few more times because a ton of stuff's good in that deck. Your tokens have training, your tokens get 1/1s, you remove the token, you remove the 1/1s with Gave to get more tokens. Pretty decent. Keep in mind, all of our tokens have training, and training only requires one creature swinging along with a creature with training that has higher attack than the creature with training. So if you have 10 1/1s with training, which is probably going to happen a lot in this deck, as long as you have one creature attacking that has higher attack than 1, all of those tokens get a 1/1 counter, which makes this commander built-in win condition as well. Feign the Broker, Retribution of the Ancients, these are both awesome. They act as mana ramp and removal respectively, like super good in a list like this, or just alongside a card like this. Keep in mind that if your trigger for training when you swing has already entered the stack, you can sack the big creature that caused the training to trigger. So if you want to, like, for instance, give Elder Arthur Maxson indestructible until end of turn, yeah, you can still sack the big creature that caused the training to trigger if it already triggered. Just a little note. Coming in next is Daring Archaeologist. Daring Archaeologist is 3 and a white for a 3/3 human artificer. When Daring Archaeologist enters the battlefield, you may return target artifact card from your graveyard to your hand. Whenever you cast a historic spell, put a 1/1 counter on Daring Archaeologist. So I think this would be really good in my cousin's Brea Ethereum Sculptor deck, because that is a artifact-based blink deck that could definitely use some of the blink spells to be blinking Daring Archaeologist to get back artifacts to throw them back into the loop. I also really like it in something like Amanatu the Fate Shifter because her -1 can blink a permanent, so you could blink Daring Archaeologist to get back artifacts. Of course, your Amanatu list would have to be leaning more towards the artifact side of things, but any kind of artifact-based deck that also has like blink sub-themes and access to white, I think this card's great. Coming in next is Horned Stone Seeker, which ironically enough was my nickname back in high school. For 2 cents, ran in 721 decks. Horned Stone Seeker is 1 and a red. For a 2/2 lizard with menace, when he enters the battlefield, create a tapped Power Stone token, and when he leaves the battlefield, sacrifice a Power Stone. I actually like this little dude a lot for 2 cents, but like I like him in decks that check 2 boxes. 1, the commander has an activated ability that the Power Stone can help pay for, and 2, the commander cares about artifacts being in play because you're making a Power Stone. Again, I don't hate this in like a budget Brea list because you could still run the blink sub-themes. This has an ETB, so it would interact there. It's also an artifact that can help use Brea's ability, and also an artifact that you can sack to Brea's ability. I think that's pretty good. I also really like him in Osgear because the Power Stone he makes can be used to activate both of Osgear's abilities, and he can also sack the Power Stone to activate one of Osgear's abilities. So also for like tribal players, there's something to be said about him being a lizard. There's like a ton of new lizard support in Bloomburrow, so if that's something you're into, that you want to lean towards like lizard artifacts or like lizard Voltron with a ton of equipments, maybe something you'd consider. So next we've got Bile Blight, which is one of my old school classic like favorite cards. I didn't expect it to be in under 10k decks, genuinely, when I looked it up. It comes in at 7 cents and it's ran in 5,836 decks. For 2 black at instant speed, target creature and all other creatures with the same name as that creature get -3/-3 until end of turn. Yeah, I don't really have specific commander recommendations or like synergy recommendations. Well, I mean, like, it kills tokens. It'll wipe a board of tokens as long as their toughness is 3 or less, because tokens all have the same name, obviously. This also gets around indestructible, which is great. Kind of how I said on the last list with the bouncer card that gives you the board wide -1/-1 to opponents. It's pretty good to just wipe out annoying small stuff that people are playing. Esper Sentinel, sorry, I'm gonna take you out. Professional Facebreaker, I gotta do it. Sorry, you're really good right now. It also gets around indestructible. So like, I think having this in your back pocket, maybe replace one of your removal spells with BioBlight, it might be useful. Juxtapose is a weird one. I'm gonna get that right out of the way. Coming in at 19 cents, ran in 451 decks. For 3 and a blue, we get a sorcery speed. You and target player exchange control of the creature you own with the highest converted mana cost, then exchange control of artifacts the same way. Sure, so if you didn't check out my Lotus Precon for the Satoru deck, I'll put a link up here. You can go check it out. It's an under $50 deck. It's about Satoru. It's about possibly swapping stuff in play with other people. And I thought Juxtapose was just a card I missed for that list. It's also an interesting card that I've never seen before, so I thought I'd share it. I would recommend checking out that video because I'm doing a giveaway for a Planeswalker Party Precon. Check it out. Enter the giveaway. Anyway, Kyrion Druid is disgusting, and I thought I would tap into all the community members. We've got some budget members, we got some more fun members, some more combo members, and then we've got pieces of shit. So this is for us. For 2 and a green, we get a 1/2 Druid that we can pay 1 green and tap to turn target land into a 2/2 permanently. It's a 2/2 creature for the rest of the game. Actually, cool. I can make more bodies on my side. Cool, I can turn a land an opponent controls into a 2/2 and kill spell it. You can do way grosser stuff with that. Put this in a Hansk Slayer Zealot deck. Yeah, sorry, I can actually tap to deal 2 damage to target creature. Oh, is that land actually a creature now? Oh man, that sucks. Not to even mention, you can turn your own lands into creatures to get more bodies, and if you're in a Lands Matter deck, if those bodies die, you can just replay them from the graveyard, and it's like all the better. So you Lord Windgrace players, go feast upon this one. It's a really annoying card. It's also on the reserved list, which explains the like $2, which isn't even that much anyway, but someone on the last video recommended that I bring up if it's on the reserve list or not, which is actually a really good shout out, so this one is. So is the next one, which is why it comes in at such a steep price, but it's also ridiculously underplayed. Corpse Dance comes in at $17.28. I know, it's on the reserve list. It's ran in 5,303 decks. It's 2 and a black for an instant with buyback 2, so if you pay an additional 2 when you cast it, it goes back to your hand as a part of the spell's effect. Put the top creature card from your graveyard into play. That creature is unaffected by summoning sickness this turn. Remove it from the game at the end of turn. Yeah, your last thing that died, that's gonna go ahead and come into play with haste. Oh, and a cool little rules fact, if you can manage to sack the creature you brought back, you don't have to exile it at the end of turn. So like the Ashnod's altars, the altars of Dementia, Corpse Dance, plus my Lord of Extinction altar Dementia win con that I got going in the Teneb. Disgusting. I have nothing else to say, Your Honor. Gross. So is Sentinel Hierophants, actually. This is kind of a disgusting card. It recently got reprinted in the Bloomborough Commander, so I expect the amount of decks that it's ran in to go up a little bit, but it was printed a while back. Actually, let me see what last set was. It was last printed in Urza's Saga, but the reprint gave it a pretty little new price tag. It comes in at 13 cents. It's ran in 7,149 decks. It's 3 and a green for a 3/2. That's a human druid, even though everything about it reads like an elf. Creatures you control have tap, add 1 green. Obviously, if you're in a go wide deck, you're like, hey, all my tokens can now add more mana. I've got to bring up Gave again, because your tokens you make can now tap for a green. If you have Concordant Crossroads, there you go, Gave players. You got a cool little thing going there. I should really like this on Amara, Soul of the Accord, as well, because she just has to tap. It doesn't have to be combat for you to make a token, so she gets the ability to tap for a green, and when she does, you make a token that can also tap for a green. That's really good. So, Hidetsugu's second. Right? I'm gonna be honest. Not a great card. Is it a funny card? Very funny. Did I think you would appreciate it if you're watching my videos? Very much so. For 3 and a red, we get an instant that if a player is at exactly 10 life, it will deal 10 damage to that player. I thought this was kind of a funny win con. I thought you guys would appreciate it. I'd never seen it before. There it is. Next one. Up next is Auriok Blade Warden, coming in at 10 cents. Ran in 407 decks. It's 1 and a white for a 1/1 that you can tap. Target creature gets +X/+X until end of turn, where X is Auriok Blade Warden's power. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not well versed in equipment decks. I'm not that well versed in like white-based equipment decks. so I'm not 100% sure where this one would go. I almost don't mind this in just like a token deck, because token decks have a lot of ways to like buff boards. For instance, if you got like a Feldar's Retreat rolling, this is really good, because if someone blocks it, you just put all its power into something else. It's also getting bigger with it. I wasn't really sure what the recommendations on this one. This one, you guys can maybe come in and help out. I just thought this was a pretty strong card to get damage through in a go wide deck, if you can buff this guy up. All right, I saved my favorite one on this list for last. I normally throw it in there pretty early. Nah, not this time. Stone Idol Generator comes in at 17 cents. It's ran in 4,821 decks. It is 5 colorless for an artifact. Whenever a creature you control attacks, you get an energy. You can tap it, pay 6 energy to create a 6/12 colorless construct artifact. Activate only as a sorcery. This is incredibly easy in a go wide deck, like a token deck, creature deck, tribal deck, to just drop, swing with 6 creatures, tap, get a 6/12. You paid 5 mana to get a 6/12, and that's not even it. If you can keep that aggression up, you just keep making 6/12s. You know what I mean? And the energy stays. It doesn't just go away. So it's like you can slowly whittle in damage and start making 6/12s every couple of turns, every few turns. If you have enough creatures, you can make 6/12s every turn. They also have trample. This thing's a win condition, honestly. Yeah, and like a token deck, this is a win condition. You're literally pairing this card with not only a go wide strategy where you now have 6/12 tramples, you're pairing this card a lot of the times with your doubling seasons, your primal vigors, and that's honestly really, really gross. And with that, we sum up this list, and I hope you guys liked it. If you want to drop a comment about any of these cards, please feel free to. Also, a little news for the channel. On the 25th of October, we're going to be doing a fundraiser, Brew a Cure live stream for childhood cancer, where you guys are going to be submitting decks. We're just going to be talking about decks on live, hanging out, maybe recommending cards in the chat, all that fun stuff. I set a $100 goal, and we haven't even been live yet. And you guys have already put like $350 into the donation thing, which is wild, so I had to move the goal up again. If you'd like to be a part of the fundraiser, there's a link to it down in the description and, of course, in the comments. But with that, I'm going to get out of here. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll see you guys later.